some tea with the Bougee Babe. Sip some tea with the Bougee Babe. Uninhibited, uncensored. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Uninhibited, uncensored. Come on, y'all. Sip some tea with the Bougee Babe. Uninhibited, uncensored. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Welcome to the Bougee Babe Podcast. Tonight, we are going to tackle the difficult but crucial issue of domestic violence. We're all here to shed light on the hidden struggles faced by countless individuals. We're going to be offering support, resources, and of course, a platform for survivors to share their stories. The title for tonight's show is Breaking the Silence, Voices Against Domestic Violence, Hope After Hurt. And the reason for that is because you're strong enough to survive whatever is put your way. It's hope. You have to keep hope. So we're just going to explore some of those things. And as always, you guys know we have the tea. And but Bougee kept it light tonight because it's a very serious topic, and we know that alcohol does not go well with domestic violence. Sometimes alcohol can be the cause of domestic violence. So tonight's tea is called Rose-Colored Glasses. You're not going to find it anywhere because I made it up. And so I try to keep the drink sassy. And it's rose-colored glasses because we all know victims of domestic violence, we like to look at our partners, our person, with rose-colored glasses on because they're keeping that hope. But the ingredients are orange curacao, pink moscato, margarita mix, Saint Germain, and a little bit of Prosecco. So like I said, it's real cute. And I just did a little bit of 2 ounces of each ingredient, which it ain't really much. So like I said, we kept it cute. So today I have here Nicki. Nicki is a member of the domestic violence response team, which is part of a civilian program, and they are in the police department. However, they are not police officers. To be part of that, you cannot be in law enforcement. You have to remain a civilian. And she does work with a shelter. And when we get to her, I'll let her tell her story. And then we have here Whomp. Whomp is a domestic violence survivor, and she also does work with domestic violence victims. And then we have Twin over there, Twin looking all a little sparkly and whatnot and whatever. And she's reminding me that I have to lose weight so I could borrow her dress over there. And just to give a little bit of facts about domestic violence, you see here, I usually have everything pink. Today, we have purple because purple is the color for domestic violence. That's why I have on my purple, homage to the domestic violence little purple headband. But the color purple for domestic violence, it came about because Purple Hearts were given to the military for those who have been wounded in service. And it later became the color for domestic violence survivors as a symbol of strength because we know the military, they're out here fighting whoever's war, because I'm not sure it's my war, or our war, but that's a whole nother story. And purple symbolized royalty, right? And it was royalty because the color purple, the dye, it was very, very expensive. Like, did y'all know that? It was very, very expensive to get the dye to make the color purple. So that's why it was only meant for royalty. So it's all, the universe gives us all these little symbolisms, the strength, the royalty, because we're strong, and you are royal, whether you're male or female. And October became the month for domestic violence awareness. Although we are actually not in October right now, and I'm not sure when this segment is actually going to air, but I feel like we don't need to wait until October to talk about this. We don't need to wait until October to bring awareness to it. We need to be talking about this issue 365 days of the year, because shit is real. It started out as just a day, actually, and then they made it a whole month. Also, some statistics. Now, y'all always know I'm always asking who did the study. Don't ask me who did the study, okay? I did get these off of Google, so I don't want nobody inboxing me telling me that my shit was wrong. Tell it to Google. But some of the reasons for domestic violence is dominance and control. The other person wants to have dominance and control over the other partner. Economic stress, unhealthy family relationships, separation, things like that. Some of the... I lost my train of thought. One of the professions, that has the highest rate of domestic violence are police officers, believe it or not. 60% of domestics happen at home. 40% are women. 26% are men. And yes, men do suffer from domestic violence. Mm-hmm. And this is what struck me the most. 4,000 women per year are killed due to domestic violence. 4,000. And I'm getting goosebumps as I say that, because that's just what's reported. Right. Let's think about what's not reported. Absolutely. So it's real out there. But ladies, can either one of you just share a personal experience and journey? Like, how did you recognize the signs of domestic violence, and what was some of the steps that you took to seek help?
The signs? Sometimes there's no signs. Sometimes it's just like, it just happens, and then once it happened, run with that. Like, where the cameras at? The first time, run with it, because they're going to keep on doing it. Because once you don't, you don't say nothing, or you don't go tell nobody and you want to hide it, it's going to happen again.
Right.
And I wanted to tell my mom and them like that at first, but I was young, so I just didn't say nothing. So at first I didn't seek help.
How old were you when you say you were young?
17, 18.
Wow.
Yeah. It was my first. So it don't matter what type of person you are. You could be the greatest person in the world, like saving yourself, and it just still gonna happen if that's the type of person that they are.
What did your first domestic violence incident look like? What happened?
I think he was intoxicated, and like I said, he was my first, so I was kind of like naive, a lot of naive. Like, when you first get that little piece, you just like, yo, right. This guy loves me because he did this. Like, so it was like, I think he was intoxicated, and I was trying to tell him something, and it just was like, I seen a handshake, and that's how I started noticing it after. Once it kept happening, it was like, he said it was a blackout, but I feel like you know what the fuck you're doing.
Right.
But he used to like shake, and then it just go down, like, and I would just stay from my mom and them for a while, like, I just stayed over here for a couple of days, so I would like hide it. But the next morning, it'd be like, I love you again. Yeah, right. So it was like, I didn't mean to do it. And I ran with that.
So you believe that he actually loved you regardless
yes.
of what happened?
Yep.
Okay, what about you, Twin?
I could go on for days, for real.
Yes.
I could go on for days, for real.
Well, let's start with, how old were you when you had your first domestic violence encounter?
sheesh, like 2011 probably, like high school. Like,
High school.
yeah.
Wow.
Senior year. Right. But it was crazy. It was crazy. And now, I don't know, yo. But the first time, I forgot what happened. And I just remember fighting. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't never me popping off first and none of that. Like,
Right.
I probably said something smart to make somebody want to do it, but why would you do it? You get what I'm saying? Like, and I don't know. Like she said, being naive. I was very naive. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this the person I wanted. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I dealt with a lot because this is what I wanted. Like, you know what I'm saying? But now I realize it's not the people you want. They don't want you.
Right.
So you get what I'm saying? So I was young. I ain't really pay attention to it until now, probably like 2 years ago. And that was just a part of an incident. That ain't even everything. Like,
See, that's deep though, because you're saying that it happened in high school. And it's like you're so young in high school. Like, you don't even know your head from your ass in high school. You don't
Right.
even know what direction you want to go in life. And you're dating your little, high school little boyfriend and, or girlfriend. And it's like, who would think that domestic violence is actually happening in our schools?
Right.
Which that alone can lead to a bigger problem in and of itself that maybe the adults are not even paying attention to.
Right.
So that's serious. Nick, like she said it happened in high school. Have you encountered high schoolers coming to you?
What happens is when you're young and you start dating, you really don't know what dating is. No. You don't know what love is. You don't know anything. So when a boy takes interest in you at a young age, you find that to be attractive. Or a girl, you find that to be very attractive. You're happy that someone's finding interest in you and they do nice things for you. But then you start thinking that when he calls and says, well, where were you? The first thing that goes to your mind, oh, that's cute. He liked me. He was worried about me.
Right.
No.
And
That's it.
right?
Yeah.
Yes. That's your
I saw it.
mindset. Oh, he was worried about me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But he really wasn't worried about you. But because you're young, you don't understand. That's a part of control.
Yes.
Right.
So then you start saying when he's with you and he does something for you, you think it's nice. But then he throws it up in your face.
Right.
Well, the other day I took you and I bought you a pair of sneakers. You young. I'm sorry. You start apologizing because you don't understand a relationship, right? And you don't want to tell your parents because you don't want your parents to say to you, well, why are you talking to this boy? Right? So you keep everything a secret,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Right.
And it's hard because sometimes girls and boys don't understand relationships. And that's why sometimes when our parents tell us that we shouldn't date until we're a certain age, we get angry. But we do it anyway, right? And because we really don't know. And we think that things that are attractive and cute when we're young, we think that's love, and that's not love,
No, it's
right?
not.
We and our mindset is, oh, he loves me. He doesn't love you, right? And even it comes to a point where you continue in this relationship because now you're afraid. Here you are, 16, 17 years old. You're afraid because you don't know what's going to happen. You're to the point where I'm scared because if I leave him, he might hit me because he already hit me.
Yep.
So now he might hit me again. I don't want to tell anybody because I don't want anybody to look at me like I'm crazy, right? I don't want anybody to judge me, so I'm going to keep all this to myself. And it gets to the point where now you both graduate from high school and you still with him, and then you end up having a baby with him. So now,
Wow, let's talk about it.
okay. So
Let's
now,
talk about it.
right? So now it becomes a whole different
Right.
thing.
Yes.
I'm not leaving because I got a baby.
Baby.
Who else? Now he got me thinking, who gonna want you?
Oh yes, that's what the. Oh my God.
You know my story?
Don't nobody.
You know my story?
know your
Cause
story.
you
That
talking.
was the line
Cause
right
they-
there.
Just telling my story
Yes,
right
fine.
now.
Cause he ain't nobody gonna want you because you got a baby.
Yep.
Don't nobody
Yes.
want you. You ain't nothing and you ain't gonna never be nothing. And that's how it starts. So now you
nobody with no
believe that,
baby.
right? You believe that.
True.
So now your family's starting to see the abuse, right? Because now when you come around, you're older now, so they seeing the marks and the bruises, and they start to see these things on you, right? So now the conversation becomes where they asking you a question. So now you want to leave, right? So they get you into saying, okay, well, you would come. But now he's like, I'm sorry. Come on back. Let's talk about it. Because, see, I still love you. And ain't nobody going to love you like I love you, right?
And women start thinking, like, I don't want to be with anybody else. I don't want my baby around somebody else. I want to be with my child's father. I want to be with my baby daddy. My baby
coming
daddy.
from a family like that, you start looking at that too. Like my mom and dad, all 4 kids is from each other. So it's like if I want to have another baby, like I can't leave him because this is
right.
But then even if you didn't come from that type of environment, when your parents weren't married, right? You want that for your child.
Yes.
I want my child to have their father. So I'm going to work it out.
Yep.
I'm going to endure everything that you got to give me because I didn't have that. So I want this for my child, right? So I want that for my kid. And now when you leave and you go back, your family is like, you left. I gave you the opportunity to come give you a safe space, but you went back. But I always tell family members, you got to keep letting them leave and come back. Because soon as the abuser knows that they don't have anybody, that's when the abuse gets worse. That's when they start tearing you apart because they know you don't have anybody. And I always tell people, once a person starts to love themselves so wholeheartedly, they'll walk out that door. But they have to want to leave. We can all want something for somebody.
I used to say that to my
but
sisters,
you
like,
gotta want it for yourself.
She need to leave him, and she used to be like, "No, she gonna know when she need to leave."
Right.
You
You gonna
when
know.
she stopped crying, and that's exactly what happened. Like when she stopped crying, she's gonna leave. Like and I didn't care what happened that last day. I ended up with a black eye, like, and didn't cry nothing. I just wanted him to hurry up. Get away from me because that was the last time.
When you say hurry up, you wanted him to just hurry up.
Do what he was gonna do.
And,
like let it go. Like you want to fight. You want to do like down to he was trying to like rape me that last day. Like because I wouldn't give him none. Like and I just wanted it to be over. Like I wasn't crying. I wasn't trying to fight back as much. I just knew once he finished, he was gonna leave. And that was gonna be it. I knew that was it. Like so, I didn't. And my daughter, I just looking at. Some people they stay because of their kid. I left because of mine.
Wow.
Cause that last fight, my daughter was in a swing, just looking, and she was 6 months. She ain't know no better, so she just looking. And I looked at my baby, and I was like, I ain't doing this shit no more. Like this is it. Like so, once it was over, I had a black eye and everything, but I was like the happiest person because I knew I was done with that shit. Like I didn't cry about it, nothing. I just was like, once he's done, he getting up out of here. Like, and I ain't got to open the door no more, and I'm not opening the door no more. Like this is it. Like
that's
so
crazy.
that was it. So I get that. Like my aunt used to say that all the time. You can't tell her. My sister, I got 3 sisters. They used to be like, you crazy. You stand with him and she gonna know when to leave. Like you can't tell her to leave because when you telling a person to do that, like. Sometimes they run back to that, but like, why you ain't got no man and you worry about what I'm doing and
You have
some
to
women.
Sometimes you have to let it go. Like you have to not say anything. I just feel like sometimes you have to let them know, like, I'm here for you if you need me, and I'm gonna let you come to me. I'm gonna let you when you do come to me. I'm just gonna let you vent, and I'll just be that ear. I'll just be that safe space. I'll be that comfort zone. I'll be that hug, because sometimes we as humans, we will rebel against what somebody else is telling us. You know, it's you know, because I know in my own personal life, it's like my mother would say certain things, and I would go totally against what she was telling me. And then when she got quiet and didn't say anything, and let me kind of like think for myself, and I didn't have that attitude like, she trying to tell me what to do. That's when I was like, no, I'm going. Because let's be clear, domestic violence is not always the physical.
That mental abuse is the worst. That mental will destroy. Some women will say, I'd rather you beat me than to emotionally
Yes.
tear me apart. Because
Yes.
that emotional, it ain't coming. You can't come
get it
back
back.
from that emotional.
Tear you down.
Will tear you to the point where
Yes.
you can never get back up.
Absolutely.
The bruises will go away, but that mental will stay with you
Tear
for the
you
rest
up.
of your life.
Right.
And when they tear you apart mentally and verbally, it takes a lot to come back. It
lot.
takes
Right.
a lot for you
Right.
to come back.
Right.
People don't understand that though. And two different people dealing with. I dealt with domestic violence with two people, and ended up with kids with both of them.
Wow.
The manipulation was crazy, like so now it's like more so I pay attention to a lot of stuff like, but the second one, horrible. It was like terrible. Like it was happening like when we first start talking, but me being naive again, I ain't look at it like that. I liked him. You feel what I'm saying? Like, he liked me, so I bet we going.
Mm-hmm.
But it was to the point like sometimes I was questioning myself like why the fuck am I letting this happen to him? Like, you get what I'm saying? Because I wasn't understanding that shit. Like, what did I do for you to want to put your hands on me? You get what I'm saying? Like, it was always that. So like
You
it was
start
going
asking, something's wrong with you.
you.
no, I used to always say that, like, yo, what's wrong with you? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, so it got to be something wrong with you. But then once I figured out, like, in the long run, it made sense. You get what I'm saying? But the way I don't know. I don't even want to say that, but I don't even want to put his business out there. But anyway, fighting in front of the kids, it was crazy. Like, I'm talking about fighting to the point where cops was being called, like, TVs broken, cars hit.
Gasoline
Yeah, I'm fighting. I had an altercation at the gas station probably like 2 years ago, and it was so crazy. It was so scary too because me and my homegirl, we about to go out. So I'm like, I'm stopping at the gas station to get something from the store real quick. That was the only gas station from where we was going. So I'm like, we gonna stop here. Stopped there, ran in the store real quick, came back out. By the time I came back out, he was already meeting me by my car. You get what I'm saying? So now I'm pulling on my door, and he pulling on me and trying to pull my jaws off. You ain't got no pain. I'm like, yo, what?
Wow.
Like, you get what I'm saying? So now, like, I'm in defense mode because it's like, bro, like, why are you right here? Like, you know what I'm saying? He pulled up from the pump. So I'm looking, I'm like, oh, wow, I see where this going. So my friend, she took the key out of my car because he into doing shit like that, taking keys out, doing weird shit. So now I just feel myself moving from my car. Now we over there by the side of the gas station where the little blue barrels at. It's gasoline in them. I had that shit all in my hair, my clothes, whole brand new outfit, everything. So now, of course, I pulled this fucking hair out. Like, whole handful. Like, get off of me. Because now, like, you doing too much. He tried to stab my tires. His friend got out the car. And I'm like, yo, get your mans. Because, like, why you trying to still, bust my tires and stuff? He ain't even paying attention. He had a whole Ciroc bottle drinking it. All right, so now, somehow, some way, we got away from each other. I'm backing out the gas station. He pulled forward towards, like, the park. But he popped his trunk. I don't know what he was doing. I was trying to pitch. I was trying to get the fuck out of there. So now I'm on my way home, but I'm on the phone with the police. Like, so they telling me to go to my house. I met him at my house, but on the way there, I'm at the light. I don't know why I stopped at this red light, but I stopped at the red light, and all I heard was, shh. So the girl who I'm with, she's on the passenger side, balled up in the car, like, he's shooting. Come to find out, he threw the same Ciroc bottle his friend was drinking. He threw it in my back window. Shattered my whole back window. So now he speed off in front of me. Now he driving crazy. I'm thinking he about to kill himself because it was a whole 18-wheeler on the other side. He all on that side on the sidewalk. So now I'm hauling ass home still. The cops met me there and we just had a conversation. But now it got scary. Like, I'm talking about, he told me 3 times in my face, I was thinking about coming to shoot you and then killing myself. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, I'm like, yo, what you just say? He repeated that shit again. I'm like, oh, nah, like, that's some scary shit because I don't be nowhere but my mother house. So it's like, you don't give a fuck with my kids out there, none of that shit, like, you feel what I'm saying? So now I was like, oh, nah, now I really got to do something because it's getting scary. You get what I'm saying? Oh, if you leave me, I'll kill you. He told me before, like, oh, you lucky I'll shoot you in the back of your head. He used to always say weird shit, like, but that shit was crazy to the point where I didn't know what the fuck to do, like, at one point. The same cop that came to one of our incidents prior was the same cop on the scene at this incident. And you know what he told me? He said, I don't care, my body came on, but I'm going to tell you. He said, I got sisters and aunts and stuff. I wish somebody would do that to my family. Like, You get what I'm saying? So people like press charges on him, like get a restraining order. And you know what I did? And I just did that. So when I went to court, he was there. The officer was there. And I'm like, yo, I appreciate that because you ain't even had to do that. But you was at 2 incidents that involved the same person, because he asked me the second incident, who is the person? And when I told him, he was like, yo, what did I tell you the last time? So it was like, damn.
But sometimes, you know, people could tell us, but we gotta want to do
Right,
it.
right.
You know, and it gets to the point where it gets so bad sometimes that sometimes I see women and come into the shelter and they don't want to be in the shelter, right? They get there and they don't want to be there.
I deal with that.
And yeah, you know, they don't want to be there. You know, they're like, I feel like, because they feel like I'm punishing my kids, right? Kids don't really understand, right? The kids see it, but they not getting what's going on. So now I'm bringing my kid where my kid had their own room and they had their own toys and their TV in their room, but now in the shelter they don't have that. So now I'm in the shelter with my kids. We all in one room together. So now I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna have to go back home. I'm gonna have to duck these ass weapons because I'm hurting my kids, right? And sometimes people don't leave because they don't want to hurt their kids. You know, their kids, they feel like they want, like we said, you want that for your child. You want that mother-father relationship. And it's like, you do so much because we love our kids unconditionally. But then sometimes we have to say, but what if it gets so bad where mommy might have to kill daddy or daddy might kill mommy, right? So now I'm going to have to leave, right? And we have to think about that because that happens, right? You know, there are times where men kill themselves and they kill their woman and then they kill themselves, you know.
We hear about that a lot.
You hear about that a lot.
We hear about that a lot. And I think is sad. I think that mindset of I'm a kill you and then kill myself.
Yes.
They oftentimes will kill the kids. They don't care.
Or
They
threaten to kill your family.
Right.
Yeah.
They just
Yeah.
thinking about being in that moment. I mean, we just had it could be a more recent incident, but the one that's coming to the top of my head is in March 2024 in Chicago. There was a domestic violence situation. The kids were home, and the son ended up being killed by the father because he was trying to protect his mother.
Yes,
And that's a whole nother issue in and of itself,
Yes.
because it's like that is the beginning workings of damaging our young boys who then turn into young men that engage in domestic violence, because the kids were present. And why should an 11-year-old have to be put in a position or feel like I gotta protect my mom?
Yes.
You know, I mean, they're gonna feel like that regardless. But I'm, you know, speaking specifically to domestic violence situations. And what about the other kids? They've witnessed this in the home. Are they then now going to grow up and do this? You know what I'm saying? Like, it just creates this vicious cycle.
You put
They
your
think
kids
it's
in two
okay.
situations.
Yeah.
You put your child in a situation of being an abuser
or being abused.
Or being
Thinking
abused.
it's okay that
You know?
like I don't even argue in my current relationship. Is like, bro, my daughter in there, cause she's 17 now. You know what I'm saying? So I don't never want her to think like, oh, my mom is staying with Ash. Like, so
Right.
Nah, it's not. We're not doing that. That's the whole point of me leaving her dad. So she don't have to be around that. Like, and I still never even. I was telling her in the car on the way here, like, it's crazy. My daughter about to be 18, and I still never like told her like your father used to be beaten. I never, because I want her to have her own perspective of him.
Right.
And she's seen the type of guy he was with other girlfriends. And anytime that happened over there, what I tell her, she used to call me, I used to be like, I'm coming to get you. Because you're not about to be around that. Like, I would want to keep her far away from that because I don't never want her to think that this guy loves me because he hit me. And or we had an argument and he got verbally abused me and now I'm going back to him. Like, I'm his bitch. Like, no, we're not doing that. Like, that's what we're not doing. Because listen. I ain't tell my daddy about that one.
Right.
But I know my daughter tell me shit I don't want to know. And I'm pretty sure if she get into a domestic violence, I'm really sure, 100% sure she gonna come and tell me, and I'm killing that nigga. Like,
But you know what? Sometimes they won't.
Stay away
though.
from it. So I want her to stay far away from it because you want to be affecting a lot of lives,
Right.
like if it happens.
And that's
like,
the thing. You like it affects everyone. It
Yes.
doesn't just affect the people involved in
Yes.
it. It
Right.
affects
People
everyone.
around
It affects the whole family.
The whole
Yeah.
family.
It
That's why I
affects
never
the whole
told
family.
my
The whole
dad.
family.
So my father was a good man. He just passed away last year. So my father wouldn't kill nobody, wouldn't let none die. So I would never put my father in that predicament to like. So I didn't never tell my dad. Like,
Because as our fathers, they're our protectors.
yes, they would have
And
felt
then
like that
they feel like they have to protect their child. So at that point, I remember one time years ago, a young lady went to a store and the man in the store was being disrespectful to her, saying inappropriate things. And I think I was a teenager and we lived in New York at the time. And she went home and she told her father. And her father went back to the store and killed the man. So it was always that line to what do you tell your father and what you don't tell your father. Because when you tell your father certain things, your father doesn't. If your father does one thing in the street or wherever, your father sees you as his child. So it's a whole different spectrum now because this is my daughter.
Right.
And I'm not having this conversation with you. So it was always when something happened, you tell your mother and see how your mother could. If your mother can't handle it, then let your mother make that decision to tell your father. Because men, when it comes to their daughters, it's just automatically pop off. We're not talking about it. Right.
That's
so
it.
yeah, it's a different.
Twin, you mentioned that it was the same officer. You had 2 incidences, and the same officer came on scene. If you were offered any resources, what resources or support systems did you find most helpful during your experience, and what advice would you give to someone currently facing domestic violence?
I tell the girls to speak up and like don't be scared. First red flag, leave. That's it. Like ain't no second chance. You give a person a second chance, you're gonna give them 100 more, and it's gonna be the same thing. Like I went through that for like 5 years with one person, and everybody always say, "Oh, why you ain't leave?" But it's always somebody that didn't go through it. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's not. Sometimes some situations harder than other situations. Like, you know what I'm saying? Some be easy, some be harder. Like, you know what I'm saying? But counseling, I did counseling. I did trauma counseling, grief counseling. I'm now in mental health counseling. So, like, all that, it helped a lot. Like, my first counselor, Dolly, I love her. Like, we had the same birthday, and every time I go to counsel, I'm like, yo, I can't go to my counselor with no bad report. And I never tried to go to her with no bad report. Like, but I was always, like doing something. If I tell her I'm going to do something, I always do it. Or she'll be on top of me, all types of resources. She helped me out a lot. Like, and then she left. I was sad, but I still keep in contact with her. But, yeah.
So all these resources was offered to you when you made the police report, or people in the community?
Yeah, it was actually, like, I think a program or something, or organization. NCST, actually, to be exact. You know, they offer counseling and stuff like that. That's who I went to.
And what is it called?
NCST.
And what exactly is that?
It's an organization for domestic violence. It's a lot of stuff. But they do offer counseling to kids also.
Okay.
Because, you know, the kids, they go through stuff too, and they need somebody to talk to. So they offer that. They just had a program or something going on. But, yeah, if y'all look into it, then y'all know. But I would say go there, too. If y'all seeking, you know, any type of counseling, I'll say NCST is the place to be.
And what about you, Whomp? Did you take advantage of any resources?
No, I just left. I just got tired and left. That was probably like it was my last like domestic violence relationship. It made me kind of more angry. So yeah, because we being real, right? So
right.
It kind of fucked me up for a little while. I never seek no help. I just really just got out of it. But my relationships afterwards, I was like very like on defense.
Okay.
On defense, like I was gonna jump on you before you jump on me. Like and I started feeling like bad. Like now I'm like him. Like it wasn't like I wasn't like to the extreme like he was, but it was like I'm always just like ready. Like, what? So are you gonna hit me? Like, cause I know like when he got angry, he hit me. So if we can't just have some people we can't just have a conversation with. So I didn't know after I left him that if everybody was like that.
Okay.
So
Nah, that's
I
true.
went to anger management twice.
Okay.
So that helped me. I think that probably helped the anger that it gave me afterwards. That's what I'm gonna say. I didn't seek no help like the domestic violence, like the police, anything like that. But it made me angry, and I got it in a situation where I almost got arrested, and it didn't just go for men. I was just on the fence with anybody. You say anything
right.
to me, I feel like, and I smacked the lady that was like 47 years old. And at the time, I was like, I'm 36 now, so I was probably like 30 or something. So I was just like, I was turned into a hothead because of him.
Wow.
And I knew that he made me that angry. Like, and I felt like anytime I got into a conflict with somebody, it had to resort to like, what's up? Like,
So yeah, it was like that fight or flight mentality. Like,
yes.
Because it's like now I gotta fight
I feel like
everything,
right.
everybody,
Yeah.
because I'm under attack. I don't trust
I feel like
nobody.
everybody jumping on me. Like,
Right.
I just felt like my friend told me one time, like, towards my daughter, like, and that's her first cousin, like, that was my daughter cousin, and she like, Whomp, somebody, they could say something to her without you being in defense all the time. I was like, no, that's my daughter. Everything was just like it was mine, like that, and I felt like, yo, you're wilding, like. And then once I was with the jail, it was like, bruh, I went to anger management because I'm like, yo, I'm mad angry.
Because you had all of that inside. You was holding it all in. And after, it's like a volcano.
Yeah.
It just stays dormant.
Yes.
And remember,
then
that's my
it's
first relationship.
Right.
That's my first experience with a man, a guy, and he was like 2 years older than me, so it was like, this was my first everything. If he could do it, like, and I'm not out here, I could see if I knew other men and other stuff like that. Like, I didn't know shit. Like, you had no reason to put your hands on me. So now when I'm more mature in that type of situation, like messing with guys and all that. Now I'm thinking, like, if you argue with me, you definitely gonna hit me because I got a lot of mouth now. Like, so now I was just always on defense. So I had to check myself after that. Like, so I got anger management. Now I know how to just like deal with situations.
Right.
Like in my current relationship, I know how to deal with it. Like, if I feel like it's even gonna get to not physical or us even like disrespecting each other, I know how to walk away. Even with my friends now or my family, we got a group chat. As soon as I feel like they be like, "Want this?" I be like, "All right, y'all, I'll let y'all leave." Like, and I walk. I'm like, I get away now because I know where it can, it can go, and you don't want to do that. And I gotta, like I said, my daughter is about to be 18. And I don't never want her to be walking around acting like you could beat the world or you need to be on defense because everybody's not like that.
So the shelter that you work for, how would somebody, if they're seeking shelter, like how would they go about finding it?
I work for St. Clair's. It's all over the place. You can go through NJCRI, St. Clair's OVP. That's just in the city workers. Like, it's a lot.
So they could just Google St. Clair's and just
and
get the help.
Or 211.com, and you gonna figure, and all of the organizations that we connect with, that we're in the branch with, to pop up 211.com. No, for real. They help. You should know. You know.
211 always directs calls to the hotline. Once you tell them that you've been a victim of domestic violence, they connect you to the hotline, which they ask you what county you live in, and they'll connect you to that county, to a facility. The way it works is that when you call 211, they transfer the call, and the hotline does the assessment for the shelter. And then once they do the assessment, they contact the shelter and they review the assessment, and then they determine if the client can be taken right away. But right now, shelters are packed.
Yes.
They're packed.
Yes.
No one has space.
Nope.
No one has space.
That's
and
sad.
people feel like, sometimes people think that you're picking who you're picking and choosing. You're not picking and choosing. It's just that everyone
life is life and for everyone right now.
Yes, life is life and for everyone. And the shelters are packed. When you call to advocate to other counties, they're full. Even counties that are far away that they say you need a vehicle, people are finding their way to these facilities too.
Wow.
So it's really hard for placement. And and there's not enough shelters, right? There's not.
Right.
There's not. And then also too, in New Jersey, there's not a lot of I can't think of it. It's always on my mind every time I go to say it. Is not, there are not a lot of programs where when the women can get affordable housing and live there.
Yes.
To stay there for a certain amount of time, because in New York they have a lot of those home apartment buildings where you could live there and you save your money and stuff like that. And
Like
there's not a lot.
transitional
That's it. Transitional homes. Yes, I always say. And there's not a lot of transitional homes in the state of New Jersey, and that's a bad thing because also too, when you go into the shelter, I always say I'm a strong advocate for the working poor, right? Because we all know $40,000 is not a lot of money, especially if you got 2 kids, you got a car note, car insurance.
Right.
It's not a lot. So when you go into the shelter and you're trying to find a place, because now you remember you were living in a household with 2 incomes, right? So if I made 40, he made 40, that's $80,000. Well, guess what? We can afford the rent together.
Yeah.
But now it's me by myself, so I can't afford the rent. And then when I'm looking for an apartment, they have programs that'll help you out for 6 months. But once the 6 months is up, what happens? And now I'm going to be homeless because I can't afford the rent. I have a small child, and guess what? He's mad at me, so he's not paying child support. And I could go down to child support all I want to, but guess what? They ain't going to do but so much, right? They're not. And he making money, but they not going to take all his money out of his check. So I'm just, like we say, life is life. And it becomes hard. And I feel like some too, even women who are not documented yet, it's hard for them in the shelters too, because they don't have a social security number.
And we got to go through all that with them and go get it for
and
them.
it's hard, right? And they don't have a social security number, so they can't get an apartment. So now, what do they do? Because the shelter can't keep you there for a year or so, right? There's it's 3, sometimes 6 months, but then they have to start letting, you're going to have to go because now I got other people that I have to let in too.
Even in the transitions home, you only have 2 years.
Right. But but even if I had that there were more transitional homes, then there would be opportunities for these women to get into these programs.
Yes.
Save up their money because you don't pay hardly anything to the transition. Sometimes you don't pay anything. So now you can stack your money. So when it's time for you to leave with your children, you can afford it.
Yes.
And we don't have that. There's not a lot of programs that really help. And I feel like we need to understand that it's hard, even for men who are victims of domestic violence, because we get men in the shelter who have 2 or 3 kids and they struggling. They're trying to make it, and people look at them like, well, you the man.
Yes.
Why are you a victim? Well, I was raised that I'm not supposed to put my hands on a woman. That's why I'm a victim, right? I was raised that way. You do not put your hands on a woman. So guess what? I took the abuse, but now I need to remove me and my kids from it. And I just feel like sometimes it's hard, when we prior to starting, it's hard when you trying to maintain and you can't get anything because you can't get food stamps, you can't get TRA because you have a job. But just because I have a job doesn't mean that I'm making a lot of money.
They only make sure you pay your rent. That's all they care about. They don't care about fee and none of that.
Nothing.
You can't get no food stamps.
You can't get this, you can't
rent.
get that. You can't. And it's like
sad.
hard. And these women, sometimes women stay because they're like calculating in their head. I need help. And it's like they'll go back because at this point, what else do I have, right? And people say, well, why would you go back? Well, hell, I can't afford the rent. I don't have anybody to watch my kids.
I gotta run here with these
I
kids.
gotta run here. And at this point, I have no other choice because guess what? If me and my kids sleep in my car, guess what? Life is going to take my kids from me, right? Because I don't have nowhere to go. So I feel like you're questioning victims about, well, why are you staying? But what are you doing to help me not stay? Why are you not giving more resources to victims of domestic violence than you are giving? Because they're not a lot. As far as financial, there are resources to help you get away from it. But as far as you to maintain, have an apartment, be able to live and not be able to go back, that money is not always there for these women. And I feel like we should not say, well, she making $60,000. Well, that's not a lot because if you look around now in Newark, East Orange, all these urban areas, you look at these apartment buildings.
But I mean, that's gentrification, right? Because they're tearing down, building up, and then when they build up, the rents are now $3,000,
and I can't afford
$3,500. Then they want you to have three times the rent, and I think the Senate just passed something about that,
right? But then also too, you got to remember. You got to have good credit.
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
And some of these women don't have good credit because they've had this, but they've gotten put out before, so that's on their credit. So now I don't want you in my place because you may not be able to pay your rent. So guess what? I gotta go back.
But again, I mean, it's a spider web because you cannot have good credit, but because you're paying bills late. You might pay credit cards late. You may have even been evicted before, but some people are like, all right, do I pay my light bill or do I pay this credit card bill? You know what? I'm going to pay this light bill. The credit card bill going to be late, but it's going to get paid. They pay it. And now they just took 33 points off because that bill is late.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Like,
so,
yeah.
I mean, all of it is, it's like, it's society is, it's like
down.
crazy.
It's
like COVID alone made domestic violence go through the roof because people are home now. People are home more during COVID because jobs closed. They did hybrid, switched to hybrid. Now you're home working. Sometimes you had some women feeling like going to work was their escape. It was their safe place. It was like, okay, it gets me away from him for a little while.
Yeah.
That ain't happening. Kids are home from school. You got women that's stressed out.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it created a lot. And then even afterwards, a lot of things, quote unquote, went back to normal. But there's things that's still not. But, I mean, we talked about all of the resources that are out there or that should be there once you're in a domestic violence situation. But, like, what about the resources to prevent it? You know, like couples therapy, therapy for the man or the woman to cope with whatever they're coping with. Like,
if they to the extreme, they ain't going to nobody because they don't know. They know what they doing, but they don't think it's as severe as we're taking it because we're the ones, we're getting abused.
Right.
You know, so if you tell them, like, well, let's go to counseling. That's if you suggest counseling and they don't go, then get up out of there, like because he's not trying to help himself or herself. You know what I'm saying?
I suggested that, and he said, I said, you need to go to counseling. He's like, let's go together. I said, no, look, I'm going to counseling. You need to go by yourself because maybe it's some stuff you need to tell him that you might not want me to know. So just go.
You should always go
but it was always, nah, I don't want to go. I'm like, yeah, that's why I want to deal with you. Because it's like you don't want to better yourself. You coming around telling me, oh, you changed. What you changed? It's the same thing. Same thing. Like, it's nothing changed. Like, it was always, I want my family. It was always beat me in the head with that. I want my family back. And, like, it's like, bro, you ain't coming around for that. You trying to see what I'm doing so you can beat me up or something like that. Like, trying to be sneaky. Like, I don't know.
What about the LGBT community in the shelter? You know, people probably don't even take those relationships seriously because it's not a heterosexual relationship.
You know what the sad part about it is? Sometimes their relationships are so violent.
I think it's more violent than heterosexual.
Yes, it is. And they're so afraid because one time I had a victim who was a male and he just was like, he went home and his mother made him come to the police department. And she was like, he's going to kill my son. He's eventually going to kill my son. And he said, I didn't want to come. I didn't want to be embarrassed. Embarrassed of what? Ain't nothing to be embarrassed of. So what that you choose to be in a relationship with a man? So what? There's nothing to be ashamed of and there's nothing to be embarrassed of. You don't allow anyone to do anything to you that you don't want them to do to you. They fight hard. And their relationships are, it's just like, because you have to think, two women together, you know how we are as women. We're very aggressive sometimes. We can be so like everybody has that emotions, right? And even with two men, so their relationships are very and it's like when you look at, they go to really go hard, and you're like, wow. And it bothers me that they're afraid, that society has made them so afraid to come tell. They will not tell. They will stay in that relationship because they feel like someone's going to judge them. And I feel like we need to get away from that. We need to get away from that and let them know, like, it's okay. Because even though there's so much it's not like in the 60s and the 70s, but people are still afraid. They're still embarrassed that people will judge them. And I feel like we got to stop getting out of judging people, right? Because we spend more time judging people, but at the end of the day and looking down on people. And that's why people sometimes are afraid to tell their story, to tell what's going on, because they're afraid of somebody judging them. This should be always a no. I always tell people this is a no judgment zone.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, who am I to judge anybody, right? Because I don't believe that anybody has to hold judgment against anybody. Everybody should be able to tell their story and never be ashamed of it. And never, because I tell people all the time, there are things that I don't have a problem with telling people because I'm not embarrassed of it. I feel like before we started talking, we talked about mental health and how in our community that no one wants to seek therapy, right? And you sat here and you talked about how you went for counseling, right? That's a thing that people make that a shunned thing. And I think that if we were never afraid, if we get out of that being afraid to go to therapy, I think that a lot of our traumas would be addressed and relationships would be a lot healthier sometimes. But that everybody feels like they had stuff and that we were brought up in our homes like what goes on in my house stays in my house and you better not repeat it. Right. We got to get away from that, right? We have to let people know that it's okay to have a conversation.
Well, I mean that's true to an extent,
right?
But I just keeping it on track with the LGBT community because, you know, I was familiar with a LGBTQ plus home, and you know, it was alarming to see the amount of couples or people that was in there and to hear some of their stories. It was like, okay, like, wow. But society alone does not look at same-sex relationships the same as heterosexual relationships. They really don't. Right. They don't give same-sex relationships the same respect. Right. Ask me how I know. I had a whole wife. And I know from my personal experiences, when we would go out or do certain things or be around certain people, it was like it wasn't taken seriously, or it was just like, all right, it's just two women. Right. Case in point, we went to a friend's wedding, and they were looking for married couples to come out on the dance floor and dance. So somebody said, hey, come on, y'all two, come on. And the person was like, no. We want a guy and a girl. I politely got my stuff. And I told her, let's go. Because if you invited us here, but we're
not good enough to dance on a dance floor and show our love. We're not good enough to show our love, but I was good enough to give you a card.
For real. So I'm just like, okay. And, when we renewed our vows, like a lot of people did not know that we were even married. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm doing my vow renewal, and I did a whole big shindig. And it was the questions that I really got asked was like, are you kidding me? Like, would you ask a heterosexual couple the same damn thing? Right. And when we went to couples therapy. And at first it was just like, like, okay, why y'all here? And I'm like, this is a real like, what the fuck are you talking? Like, what are you talking about?
It's the same relationship. It's just two women together or two men together. So how do you claim? Because they have the same issues. Don't support it. Yeah, but all. They have the same issues. They go through not getting along. Yeah. They have moments when you wake up in the morning, don't talk to me, don't talk. They go through the same thing as a heterosexual relationship. So I don't understand why people don't accept it. And, I know one time at the shelter we had a young lady there, and she said, I prefer if you call me he. And I said, okay, he such and such and such and such. He, and they were like, huh? And I was like, he said that he preferred you to call you as he, and I'm going to respect that. You understand? When I walked him over to the hospital one day, he said, Nicole, thank you. I said, oh, you're so welcome. I said, he is here for such, and the lady was looking at me like, well, who the hell is he? I said, he. He would like to be called he, and that's what you would identify to.
Because then you get into the whole pronoun.
Right, but I shouldn't have to explain. Yeah. I shouldn't have to. Right, once I say it, once someone tells you it, you don't have to question them. That's what you asked for, and that's what I'm going to respect you as.
I think it's because the older generation has their heads in the bedroom. If you get your head out the bedroom.
All right, so I'm at work. I'm in a situation right now in one of our transition homes. It's for women, and pronoun her, she. And they like, well, he still you got like 2 or 3 of them. Oh, he still got a dick. And I said, well, are you like, you don't feel safe? Or, no, I just don't think he should be. Why? Why you don't think she should be here? Because that's her pronoun. And it's not as easy for us to just like, I get out, because this is the world now. This person could sue us and everything because this is the law now.
Right.
And you have to respect people. And this is 60, 50-year-old women saying this. Mind your business. And
That
let
older
these people
generation.
love who they want to love.
love. That's
Mind
right.
your business. If they not doing nothing to you, what do she do in here got to do with you? Because she still got whatever down here. That
don't have nothing to do. It
has nothing to do with you.
And let people live their life. And that's the problem that we have too. People just don't want people
Mind
to live
their
their life. And people
business.
don't mind the business that pays you.
Like you said, the older people, it really is them. It's like we had like a chat and chew, and one of the LGBTQ. They have a lot of letters too now.
Right.
They have C, Q stand for 2 things. I went to a training. I learned a lot about it. And he came in there with a crop top, and the lady said, "Excuse me." I looked at her, I said, "Don't say nothing to him. Mind your business." Because he around the kid, that's who he is. Leave him alone. And he gonna curse you out. Like, some of them be cursing you out, so you gotta chill.
Yeah.
They put you right in your place real quick.
And you have to, when they come to make police reports, and you have to just respect them as it is.
Respect.
Because at the end of the day, they're just like, they're human, right? Don't think that because they're attracted to the same sex that makes them a different person.
Different.
They are who they are. And you have to learn how to respect it and take their reports and be respectful and graceful to them.
Right.
Don't ever, and I always say, don't you ever mistreat anyone who comes in here. Because at the end of the day, it's called respect, because you don't want anyone to disrespect you, and you wouldn't want nobody to disrespect your family member. So it's important.
Yeah.
Twin, in speaking about support and healing strategies, what strategies or approaches did you find most effective in helping you as a survivor of domestic violence? Like, what helped you rebuild your life, both emotionally and practically?
Counseling and working out. When I'm working out, I ain't thinking about nothing.
Oh, that's why you so slim.
Yeah. I work out, so therefore, like, I have my music on. I ain't thinking about nothing. I give a fuck about what's going on around me. Like, you get what I'm saying? But counseling helped me a lot. Like I said, I did trauma, grief, and mental health counseling. So, man, each one of them, like, every counselor I came across taught me something different.
Right.
Like, it was to the point where my counselor asked me, do I want to be a counselor? I'm like, not right now. Like, but I was also seeking to, like, be like a domestic violence advocate.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? So it's like it's deep to the point where October I tell all my people to wear purple. You get what I'm saying? So it's serious, because it got that bad. Like, it could have been worse than what it was. Like, you get what I'm saying? So I wish it would have been earlier than that, because my kids.
Well, as a victim, you would probably make a great counselor, because sometimes I feel like those are the best people.
Yes.
Because what can you tell me
right
from a book? Because you went to school and studied it, and what can you tell me?
Right.
You know?
I was trying to tell her. But like we said, they gonna leave. But it was like everything this nigga did. Right? I'm like, yo, he remind me of my baby father. Then I said, I'm like, yo, he
same sign and everything.
The same sign and I was like, I'm like, what's his sign? She like a Scorpio. I'm like, son, leave that nigga alone. Like, I just knew it. He just wanted to, it was just always there. Like, just always popping up. Like, bro, and then we kind of look alike. So he used to be like thinking it's like me as her. Like, it's like, bro, like, chill. I hated him because I just knew. Like, but I never said to her, like, I just was like, yo, if you need, and even when she, like, distanced herself because of him, I understood, right? And as soon as she came back, it was just like, same shit. Like, come on, baby. Like, but I knew him. Like, but I already been through my situation. So I seen the signs. But, you know, she had to. And she did, and thank God she got out of it alive. That's what I'm saying.
Alive.
Not out of it, because she could have got out of it, and he still would have been bothering her. Like, I'm happy he's where he at, and I'm happy she's, like, over it completely.
I think that you would be an excellent advocate.
She would be excellent.
Even though I think that you have a lot to give, especially your story would help so many people. And sometimes a lot of victims don't like to give a part of their stories. And I always say that your story, you don't know that your story could save so many people.
Yes.
Right.
So I think that you would be an amazing advocate when we get off
That's
the
why
air.
with the video I sent Kiana, like the domestic violence month, I always post it. I'm like, I ain't looking for sympathy. It's just to bring awareness of what's going on, because a lot of people scared to talk about what's going on. But like in the beginning, I wasn't like beef for saying nothing about it. I wasn't talking about it until I got comfortable and going to counseling, and then that's when I really started talking, because I ain't had no other choice. In counseling, this is the stuff you got to talk about.
I'm only here.
Like, you know what I'm saying? But
Seriously.
I'm just like, it just opened my eyes to a lot of stuff. So now, like, dating, like, I'll be on a defense. It's like, yo, you got a defense mechanism, but I have every right to. Like, when I speak a certain way, I have every right to, because, like, you don't know what I went through for me to act the way I act. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you know me before and then you know me now, then you'll understand. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's why I tell people, like, you don't know my story for you to sit here and say certain shit to me, because I don't speak on stuff I don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? I can't sit here and speak on a topic I don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? But domestic violence is something I know, because it's happened to me in 2 relationships, like, and now I'm to the point where I'll be trying to swing on people. They be like, yo, I ain't doing nothing, my bad, like, you get what I'm saying? Or like, when somebody try to wipe something off me, I'll be ducking. It's like, yo, I ain't gonna hit you, like, shit. I'm like, nah, it's just, like, I just pay attention to certain shit. A lot of shit be deja vu, like, and I'll be like, oh.
Yeah, but it's time. It's
Yes.
just over time healing. It's just a process that you're going to go through, and it's time. But I think that you would be an amazing advocate, because sometimes I always say that, you know, when people start talking to people, you can't, you know, sometimes I listen and I'll be like, you're not even on the subject of what the person needs to understand about.
Right.
So sometimes
yeah.
I believe that sometimes people need to talk to somebody who's experiencing it to help them get through it.
Right.
Because if I know, it's hard sometimes for people not to know what happened, you know.
Or to take advice from people.
Take
who
advice
haven't
and
went
have
through it.
not
I don't
experienced
like
it,
to
right?
kids.
You know, you can't.
Like, you ain't got no kids, don't tell me nothing about no kids, please.
You know.
Like,
So I, you know, when we get off, I'll definitely give you some numbers for you to take some classes, you know, which are free of charge, you know, because I think that you would be excellent at it, and especially to young girls, right? Because a lot of young girls need to, like, to hear it from somebody young.
Their peers.
That's why I was going to actually go to my old high school and see if I could speak, but I didn't have the right people to go to ask that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then I have a friend that set me up with something in New York to talk to the college kids. So that's in like September. So I'm gonna do that.
You
But even
definitely,
it's
you definitely should be an advocate. You definitely should be in the high school, specifically because early on you said with you it started in the high school,
Right.
and we're seeing more and more high schoolers involved in domestic violence situations,
Right.
and I mean in alarming numbers.
and they like,
And-
they can't get touched too. Like,
Yes.
ain't nobody
Yeah.
gonna do that to me.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Like,
Right.
everybody say
Okay.
something until it happened to them. They be like, oh shit.
Right.
I
Like,
think somebody
get what
love
I'm
you
saying?
more than the next one did.
Yes.
You want to allow
Yes.
a lot of stuff, and you shouldn't.
In
Yeah.
East Orange, there was a couple of years ago, it was a girl that went to East Orange Campus High School, and she was killed
I know exactly what you're
by
talking about.
her boyfriend.
Yeah,
I
they
think
did
it was
two
right
TV
before
shows,
prom
two
or
TV
something.
Two crime shows did her
Did
story.
something? Yes, they
yeah.
did. And
Oh,
I
okay.
know that I know the family of the girl.
Yeah, two
Oh,
crime
wow.
shows,
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's some
That was
wild
sad.
shit.
Yo, they were babies.
She was
like,
getting ready to go to prom.
Yeah.
wow.
And
she ain't want to be with him no more.
yep,
And,
and he shot and killed her.
And he was a baby too.
Yeah.
And that's another
So-
thing. That's another thing we need to touch on too. Like, it seems like it's more and more women being killed by men because they cannot handle the rejection
Yes.
of not
Yes.
being in the relationship no more. Like,
Yes.
that's what you dealt with.
Yes.
You
Yep,
know,
that's what I dealt
that's
with.
what you dealt with.
They can't deal with rejection, period. Because,
Mhm.
like, now if somebody asks for my number, I get them, like, one of my little fake numbers. Because you will not kill me because I rejected not to talk to you.
Right.
Just like it happened in New York. The girl rejected the boy and he stabbed her up or something
Yes,
like that.
that
Like,
was
yeah,
recent,
like, yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot going on. Like,
These men
but people
be
now don't want to
butthurt.
talk. Yes.
They be butthurt.
These men they
They be
need
butthurt.
fathers or something. something going on in the
for
household.
real.
And
'cause
sometimes
That got
they
them so
may not
angry.
Got the love from their mom. You know,
Yes.
it could
Yeah.
be rejection from their
Yeah.
mom growing up with not having that love that their mom didn't give them the love that they need, you know, or they were looking for something in their household that they didn't receive.
It's
Listen,
sad.
I think with that issue, you can't even really pinpoint it to any one thing because you
Yeah.
have people that comes from 2-parent homes. You know,
Yeah.
their parents have done the best that they could possibly do,
Mm-hmm.
giving them everything, giving them the love, the attention, all of that, and they grow up to be
Still be in their
shitbirds.
bag.
Right.
And
Right.
you know, tearing somebody up like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I remember you ain't give me Honey Nut Cheerios for breakfast one day. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
And then when
right.
it, like, It's craziness. So there's no reason for domestic violence, period.
Right.
It's like, if you feel like you're mad enough that you got to put your hands on somebody, leave.
Yes.
You know, and to you women, if you are in a situation, you're arguing, and the man tries to leave, fuck all that trying to pull him back, not letting them leave. Let them go. Period.
Right.
And women, do not be putting your hands
on these men.
I
hate that.
You know, because case in point, I got 2 sons. They was not raised to be putting their hands on women. Mm-hmm. But one of my sons was in a situation, and the girl put her hands on my son. Baby. Bougee over here was not bougie anymore. Bougie was bougetto. Okay? Refined ghetto. You understand?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, I told my son, I said, don't worry about it. Your mother got this. I was in my car, and I'm there. But when I got there, the girl was went to a whole nother state and all that. Stay your ass right the fuck there.
Right.
Because had my son hit her back, he would be in jail.
Yep.
You know, and that's like let's not forget about that issue. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
and women don't think you can't go to jail either, because
Right.
so if whoever got a mark, if both of y'all got a mark, everybody's going to jail now.
Yeah.
The
police
department, the officer will assess the situation and find out who the aggressor was.
Yes, and you will go to jail too. So stop putting your hands on these men.
and I can't,
especially in front of these kids, because diapers get involved, and like, don't nobody want diapers around.
You don't want diapers involved.
Yeah.
And you don't want your kids thinking it's okay, because sometimes we do go back. Like she said she dealt with it for 5 years. I've dealt with it for 2 years. Like,
that's a long time.
You go back. So you don't.
That's what you used to
in front of your kids.
You get what I'm saying? Like, when you deal with somebody that, like, first of all, this nigga used to give me apology gifts. I'm like, bro, that shit don't mean nothing.
Apology.
Yes. Like, if he, like, say as far as he fight me today, tomorrow he'll come probably with some roses or something. I'm sorry. And I'll be like, okay. Like, but then, like, when you talk to somebody else in there, it's like you used to that person. So it's like, I'm going to just stick to what I know than rather to, you know, move on. Like, that was me. And I'm like, damn, I should have listened to myself. Like, I knew what was right and what was wrong, but it was just me being naive and wanting that family. Like, you know what I'm saying?
You was looking at it through them rose-colored glasses.
Yes.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So, with your first child's father, who was abusive, did you find yourself looking for the same type of man with the next one?
No, actually, after him, I started, like, I was chilling. Like, then I was dating, but the person who I dated after him, they wasn't nothing like that. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I didn't understand. So I'm like, is it me? Or I know it ain't me, because I know I don't do shit for you to even sing and act on. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Anybody know that. But it was like, it was more so, if I can't have you, nobody can. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it was like, but the first one, right? It was to the point he was putting his hands on me. And then one day, I whooped his ass. Like, to the point where he ain't even want to put his hands on me no more. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I gave him that ass whooping to where though now he know.
Yeah,
don't argue with me, because you know I'm very argumentative, and I will argue down, but you going to be mad at the end. Because I know. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but it was like manipulation, all types of stuff. But now I'm more aware, and I'm, you know, got to choose wisely. I ain't with none of that. Everybody be like, yo, you so, like, why you like that? It's not why I'm like that, nigga. If you know what I've been through, then you will understand, like I said. But
so you didn't see any of the signs in the second guy? He didn't have, like, the same qualities or red flags as the first
he
guy?
He definitely did have red flags. But, of course, I wasn't paying attention to that shit.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I was naive. You know what I'm saying? But
was it the power of the D? Like, what?
Yeah, it was. I think that's what it was. You get what I'm saying? Like, damn, why you do that? You get what I'm saying? Like, you feel me? But hell no, I bet. But it was like I tolerated too much, kept giving too many opportunities when it wasn't even supposed to be that. You get what I'm saying? But now it's like, fuck you, I hate you, and, you know, you could roll
That'd
over
be
and
some
die.
women's weakness, though. I mean, hey, they be
Yes,
like,
yes, that's what
oh
it
my
was.
God,
Because
like, girl,
let me sip my tea right now.
I gotta
I know what mine was.
I
I
gotta
don't think it was a D,
give-
'cause it was like everything after him was like better. I'm just being honest.
You have to
He was my
understand.
first,
It was your
though.
first, and you were young,
Right,
and,
I
you
didn't-
really
like,
didn't.
I
You
didn't
didn't.
know
You
no
didn't
better.
experience love.
That's-
You didn't know what love was.
Girl,
So that was your
and
first.
after I got something else, I was like, wait.
You was like, I was
this
sticking around for that
beat
dick.
me the fuck up.
Hey, yo.
And it was just like, bruh, like, please, I didn't need, and then you be looking for, and I tell her, like, don't be looking for an apology, because they don't, They don't always apologize. My daughter.
No, him giving you the dick was the apology.
Yeah, no.
That was your apology.
Right, exactly. Like a real apology was probably like 5 years ago, and I left him 18 years ago.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, like you get what I'm saying. So don't look for it because you ain't gonna heal that way. You gotta really heal within yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And know like your worth.
Right.
And know that them niggas don't be nothing. Like I really was like, it was stupid. Like this nigga was like this, and you over here like this, like. Girl, I was so mad at myself. Like, girl, you did all that with this one. Like,
but that's why he didn't want your ass to go, because he probably was like, she get out there and get something else and see the difference and all that other kind of stuff.
And you gotta see it now, like 2024. Like, if you like the whole like baby mama lineup, like he got 7 kids. I still got the 1 kid. You see the baby mama lineup and you see me, you like, how did you even get in there? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't even know. Like, it's like country bumping over here, and it's like, you lit. Like,
you said country bump?
Yeah, because it's like, how did you get over there? Like, I was like, I didn't know no better. Like,
were you his first?
No.
Okay.
No, he was mine, but I wasn't his, no.
And what about you, Twin? Was your first child's father your first, or?
Nah.
Oh, you was just a fast.
I was bumping and grinding in high school. It's like, nah. My first was actually older than me though, but yeah.
Okay, but it still was the power to do.
It definitely was.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
Blinded.
sorry. Right, it was the glasses.
But now I don't go for that. Now, hell no. So you say the wrong shit, I might swing, but I'll be trying not to.
Bitch, you want to be domestic?
no, I'm just saying because it's not even that. Like I'm being domestic. It's like a reflex or like
it's a trigger.
It's like a trigger. Like you get what I'm saying? Like
still fresh. Like,
but
again,
I be trying to tell people like, yo, like for somebody that's healing, like one thing you don't say to like a person that's healing is, I think you need to heal or something like that. Because if you know I'm in the healing process, why would you tell me that? Why not try to help me in the process of healing? Like, you know what I'm saying? Or why won't you just say, oh yeah, I see you healing. I see, you changed or whatever. Like, just get some type of feedback. Don't say some shit that's going to trigger me and make me mad. Like, because that's not going to be nice.
So real quick, to lighten things up a bit and to go towards our wrapping it up, because I got the people in the background and whatnot, my producers and all this in the studio talking about.
Oh, y'all having too much fun.
Right. So to lighten it up a bit, what's a fun or quirky hobby that you guys have that would surprise people?
I bowl.
Bowl?
Yes,
really?
I'm in bowling leagues. Yes,
I
was
I would never see that.
I love bowling. Like, I get the shakes when I don't bowl right.
Yes. Let me find out. You have bowling withdrawals?
Yes, I do. I have bowling. I have about 4 bowling balls in my car right now. I have like 3 pairs
That's
of
good
shoes.
to know, because I've been wanting to go bowling for a long time, and I can never find nobody to go bowling with me.
I bowl too.
Yeah,
I bowl too. I was in a bowling league. I love bowling.
But is that your same hobby, or what's your
I mean, I do some of everything. I actually cook, so I don't really
cook.
Yeah,
cook
I got my own little food business. I sell seafood.
You have your own food business.
Yeah.
Okay, what is it? What's the name of it? Come on, put
AKA
it out there.
Boyles on social media on Instagram. You getting it? If you would follow me to get to that page, which is _Redbone222. And yeah, tap in, get y'all Boyles.
So AKA Boyles Bougie. So get your AKA Boyles. If you need the information, you could go to the Bougee Babe Podcast. Get it to you maybe. And then we got Whomp over here that likes the bowling.
Yes.
So
we're
we're gonna get a bowling thing going on. What about you, Nicki? What's your hobby that we would be surprised about?
I know I love to shop, but I guess everybody know that. I guess that's the only hobby I have.
That's
I love
addiction.
Shopping.
Right.
I mean,
some retail therapy.
Right.
Yeah,
therapy.
I like shopping. Like I can't really think of doing anything else. Like I like going shopping by myself. Like that, it just gives me that peace of mind. Like I just feel like. Yeah, and I think I like being by myself. Like, that's another thing. I think that for me, being an advocate and having my own personal issues in the past, I just think, like, sometimes just being alone just gives you that time. And there's nothing wrong with it, but I just like doing things by myself. I think that's what I just like being by myself. I don't know why. it just gives me a peace of mind. Like,
Peace of mind.
I understand that.
yeah, it's like, if I go somewhere, I don't mind going by myself. It doesn't mean, like, I'll get in my car and just drive. Like, I don't even have a destination. I just like to just go.
Right.
That's me. I just get in my car and just drive.
I just feel like just turning. And the crazy thing about it is that when I get in my car, I don't play music. And everybody who gets in the car with me gets aggravated. Like, how don't you have music? I like just to have that moment.
No.
Like,
The music
When
gives
I
me the
don't
peace
listen
of
to
mind.
music,
Yeah.
I feel like I get into my problems, my clients' problems in my head. I need to.
I
need
think
to
that
hear the
I
music.
need quiet, because I think that I hear people talking to me
All
all the time,
day.
all day. So it's like when people get in the car, I don't have my music on. If my boyfriend gets in the car, he'd be like, "Can we turn on my best friend?" No, leave my music. Don't turn it off. I don't want to hear anything. I like to just drive in silence.
Right.
No, I'll be in my thoughts. I've been a cry.
Yeah, I gotta turn the music on.
Right.
I
Music
better start
my
crying.
therapy.
Get in my thoughts. Absolutely not.
Right.
Okay, guys. Well, listen, today we explored the complexities of this pervasive problem, the domestic violence issue. And, everyone here has a wealth of knowledge, information, and experiences. And we are all here to help work together to foster a community of understanding, resilience, and change. So if you are out there, whether you're a male or a female, and you are in a situation where you are suffering from domestic violence, you do not have to suffer. Okay? You are not alone. You see, we have people here that have experienced it. They are survivors. They had hope. And I'm big on the word hope because I posted it on my page. Hope is where everything begins. Okay? So, if you need help, the National Domestic Violence Hotline is 1-800-799-7233, or you can text 88788. If you have an emergency, don't do any of that. You dial 911 wherever you are in the United States to get emergency services to you in an extreme emergency. If you feel like you want to reach out to the Bougee Babe Podcast, I am here. You can go to my page on Instagram, the Bougee Babe Podcast. You can send me a message. I can send you information for the resources to get you the help. You can contact Bougee Babe through thebougeebabe@gmail.com, or you can even call at 908-380-1533. And I will make sure to get you the help that you need, the resources, put you in contact with any one of these ladies here that can get you, further for what you need. Don't feel like you have to be out there suffering alone, okay? Because remember, you are not alone. So I want y'all all out there, make your drinks. Look at everything through rose-colored glasses, and stay bougie, babes.
Sip some tea with the Bougee Babe. Sip some tea with the Bougee Babe. Uninhibited, uncensored. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.